So science dictates that we do use somewhat of 100% of our brain, contrary to media belief. Generally speaking, our brains are doing all kind of stuff in the background and they're processing all kind of information and adding something or subtracting something. And we just don't necessarily really know because we don't have access to that level of knowing. If you look at your task manager on your computer, you would pretty much see that's what's going on. And generally speaking, the whole entire idea of this using 100% of your brain isn't necessarily using it, but accessing it, which would be far different from what actually happens in media. So, accessing 100% of your brain would be different because you would now be able to micromanage what's going on in your body and have a deeper conversation with yourself that allows you to identify what's going on. For example, using computers or rather using cell phones, back in the day when smartphones first came out, you would have to either root or jailbreak your phone to get it to do certain things. And for me now, what I used to do is turn off that boot screen that popped up that showed the carrier that you were with because I just didn't like that. It felt kind of useless to have to deal with it. It was very jarring having to go back to that, by the way. But anyway, so what's going to happen here is that you now gain root access to your head, your brain, meaning that you're now in the programming section of it where you get to tell it to do or not to do something. And you can even reprogram certain things to happen. So now you could potentially have a supercell that you could talk to, and it would then lead the other cells to do a bunch of stuff. Starting with being able to communicate with your body to stop you from doing stuff. For example, I'm no doctor, but something like MS, for example, where your immune system is attacking your nervous system, you would simply be able to tell them to freaking stop. Like that's a part of you. Stop doing that. And it would just simply have to listen because you're managing it now. You're the micromanager, or you could basically tell the supercell to tell it to stop, and the supercell just will. And of course, all of this is science fiction. I don't really necessarily know what would happen if you gain 100% access to your brain, but I think that this is where this would go. We generally don't have access like that. We just are kind of left up to the devices over here and it just does stuff in the background, which doesn't necessarily go right all the time. And I don't think you would necessarily need to access it every single time, all the time. Sometimes you could just there be chilling and let it do its job. And then when things happen, like you get ill or something to that effect, then you kind of take charge to figure out what's going on. You could even tell your cells to focus on an area and then feed it sustenance to stop it. Now, there's a lot more going on to this that I actually want to talk about because this is a fun topic. But for right now, I'm going to stop here and just let it be known there's probably going to be a few more of these because there's so many examples of what would be cool in gaining access to yourself.